2017 has been rough, but not in a bad way. More of a my wallet and free time cannot keep up kind of thing. We're only in April, and the sheer amount of must-haves that have hit shelves, physical or otherwise, has been staggering. Not to mention a whole new console. While there's been a decent amount of releases that have come out and lauded as average or disappointing, I would say that the good easily outnumbers that. So much so that I think I might call 2017 the best year in video game history. Oh, but what about 1998? And yes, we will get to that. But for now, let's focus on some of the fantastic gems that have come out in the past few months. Now, obviously I haven't played everything because the onslaught has just been too much, but I have played a decent amount of them, and we're gonna talk about that. So yo, it's Austin, and I guess we're gonna call this games I played recently that I kind of liked. So let's get started by month. I don't think anyone was ready for the post-Christmas wallet massacre known this year as January. I was still coming off of playing Shantae Half-Genie Hero and The Last Guardian on the same day that Resident Evil 7, Tales of Berseria, Yakuza 0, and Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue decided to drop. But before that, the newest Project Diva game came out, and holy shit. I've been kind of quiet about my Project Diva addiction, but when the newest Hatsune Mic game Future Tone dropped, I sank deep into it. I'll say it, screw it, this is easily the best Diva game to hit the States. They dropped all the petting minigame nonsense and just threw songs at us. Over 200. 200 different tracks to play. And of course, not all of them are great, but if you're a rhythm game fan, it's hard to go wrong. Not to mention that this is hands down the most difficult in the series thus far. While it might have taken a while to reach stateside, I'm glad it did it all. The bang for your buck here is incredible. There's hundreds of costumes for each of the characters, 4 or 5 difficulties for each song, and well, it's real hard. I used to be able to perfect songs on Extreme on the Vita games, but fat chance here in Future Tone. If you love Miku or even just rhythm games, I'd say this is a must-buy. Then, slamming into the ground, came the anticipated sequel to Gravity Rush 2. Picking up directly where the original left off, Gravity Rush 2 tosses us immediately into Cat's shoes and shortly after into wherever the hell you want. I'm glad that Sony released the original last year as a remastered version, because seeing all the improvements made in the sequel was awesome. After all, this is a fully fledged PS4 game instead of a Vita monster. And man, Gravity Rush 2 is fun as hell. When you look at it from a distance, it might look confusing or like more of the same, but the additions given to Cat's arsenal are just so awesome. My favorite being the gravity slide. This essentially turns any surface in front of you into, well, a slide. You can surf all over entire cities, and oh man, these cities are just so incredibly detailed. Developer Japan Studio and Team Gravity really went out of their way to make this fictional floating set of islands feel alive. So many objects are destructible, and there are literally hundreds of people on the screen at times, and using your powers even for just a second can cause panic. I've also never played a game in which escort quests were immensely amusing. Typically in a game, you have to closely follow behind someone in order to progress the story, but not in Gravity Rush 2. You kinda just pick them up and watch them orbit around you, even if it looks incredibly painful. Oh, and the music is fantastic. Composer Kohei Tanaka did the score here, and he's behind things like G Gundam, Dragon Ball, Alundra, and so much more. It has an impact that not many games do, and well, I love it. I didn't pick this game up until much later after its release, but Gravity Rush 2 kicks ass and I can't wait to get deeper into it. Now, when January 24th came rolling around, I was given a choice of 4 games, the 4 I mentioned earlier. Choosing just one was the hardest choice I've ever had to make, but I decided to go with Yakuza 0. Why? Well, the Yakuza franchise, as a Shenmue fan, has always appealed to me, but it felt too daunting, so why not start with the prequel? Boy, am I glad I did. I figured, hey, if any one of those 4 needs some support to get more games, it's gonna be Yakuza. What I didn't realize is how me going in blind was going to lead to a mix of dramatic-ass melodrama and then goofy nonsense. Like, how do you go from a scary moment with a dude threatening to chop off your fingers to this? I can't handle it. It's weird as hell, but the collection of minigames spread out in the open world and the cool set pieces in which the story of Kazuma Kiryu are told are pretty engaging. There are different fighting styles you can unlock and even a secondary character, both of which feel completely different from each other. But the big thing here is that Yakuza does a good job of giving the player a lot of choice while still feeling like a beat-em-up RPG hybrid. Plus, any game that lets me play Space Harrier or Outrun automatically gets a thumbs up from me. That's the good shit. The early physical copies of Yakuza gave me this business card holder, which has cute little girls in it, so that's pretty cool. Oh my god. Oh. Admittedly, I missed a lot of games in February. I was hard at work on various things, including the Zelda clones video, which destroyed my time. That means yes, I missed Nioh. I'm sorry, okay? I've heard nothing but fantastic things about it though, from critics, friends, some of y'all even. It's something I plan to pick up when the price drops and my time frees up, but whew, it looks like it's gonna be a hell of a time. I did, however, get to play Berserk in the Band of the Hawk. And there's not really much to say about this one. It's kind of strange to see all these Dynasty Warrior and Musou type games come out so rapidly with such a difference in the quality. For example, Hyrule Warriors, Attack on Titan, and Dragon Quest Heroes are all pretty good and have some interesting spins on the formula. Berserk unfortunately just feels like a few steps back in the gameplay department while also making Guts into even more of a killing machine. I got a fucking achievement for killing 100 dudes at the same time, like, come on. But of all the February releases I played, Night in the Woods has to be the most captivating. Full disclosure, the story and the characters of this game are pretty much directly aimed at my demographic, so yeah. We follow Mei, a character shrouded in mystery who is also someone returning home after a year in college. Coming back to the place where you grew up, dealing with reputation, old memories, experiencing general apathy, being hard on yourself, using the valuable time we have on this planet to experience things we choose to. You wouldn't believe it by just looking at Night in the Woods, but these little cats, bears, and alligators have extremely real personalities to them. Little minigames and diversions help the game feel more complete as opposed to just an interactive narrative. I will say that I enjoy a lot of visual novels, but the inclusion of, well, throwing pierogies in Greg's mouth separated from the often used but ugly worded walking simulators we see quite a bit. There have been multiple times in Night in the Woods where I felt a small event hit close to home, and seeing my little cute avatar Mei experience things at my behest only made it more impactful. Aesthetically, Night in the Woods feels great. The music has spawned a bunch of YouTube covers, and the characters have already generated quite a strong and positive fandom. And well, I think I'm a part of it. It's always awesome to see a project come out of Kickstarter and kill it, and Night in the Woods did exactly that. Give it a shot. Greg rules, okay? Austin, you're missing so many games. I know, I haven't forgotten about them. We'll get to that later, but for now, let's just talk about March. I wonder if you guys heard about the new Nintendo console launch? The Nintendo Switch, was it? Damn, I thought everyone did. Well, I got one. And I got The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, as well as a couple random eShop games from the Japanese store, because why the fuck not? Let me say one thing about the Switch though. Hardware-wise, it's exactly what I wanted. I'll tell you right now that I'm gonna use it to finally play Disgaea 5, as it seems like the perfect platform to do so. Now for the games. The Switch has barely been out a month at this point, and I'd say the launch lineup has been a mixed bag. While on one hand you have games like 1-2 Switch and Super Bomberman R being, well, a bit subpar, you have more interesting titles like Snipperclips and Snake Pass holding down the fort. Snipperclips is a super cute and relatively solid co-op experience that will make you use your thinking brain here and there. It was easily one of the most unique games in the console, despite being pretty short. Snake Pass is a bit of a puzzle platformer? It's really hard to describe. It's the snake game. You're a snake and you do snake things. You assume control of Noodle, which is such a good name. Look at this little goober. Noodle's, he's great. I love him. Anyways, your only real goal is to collect stuff and move on to the next level. It's a very simple and focused title that uses its movement as the main method of challenge. Similar in that way to the Katamari Damacy franchise, the toughest obstacle is going to be your coordination. You hold R2 to move forward, L2 to grip onto objects, A to lift your head, and the control stick to pick a direction. That's pretty much it, which I enjoy because it means the only real challenge comes in mastering the controls to keep up with the increasingly complex level design. Despite the rather peaceful setting and relaxing music, at a certain point, the difficulty can get, infuriating for impatient players like myself. Snake Pass wants you to go slow, which is great. I just think it's gonna take a certain mindset for me to get into. My peeps at Sumo Digital, also responsible for the best game ever, Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed, made Snake Pass, and as a cheaper digital title, I can say it's worth checking out. So, what else is on the Switch? Just Dance 2017? No, I didn't forget about Zelda. I didn't. It's like the biggest thing right now. It's just, I'm a little mixed on it. Breath of the Wild has been heralded as one of the greatest Zelda games of all time. Some people have even claimed it to be one of, if not the best game ever created. So upon hearing these things, I might have had my expectations a little too high. But the game I found inside was one I felt was a bit overhyped. Without going into spoiler territory, I'll share a bit of my 15-ish hours with the game. When it comes to open world games, I need a strong central narrative to keep me going. I need characters to keep that motivation pushing forward. I need some batshit options for traversal, such as the wingsuit in Just Cause 3 or chocobo drifting in Final Fantasy 15. But my experience with Breath of the Wild consists mostly of what you're looking at on screen right now. Just kinda drifting into nothingness? Very, very quiet nothingness. Let's not throw around the phrases intended design or immersion, I get it. But for me, personally, the experience Breath of the Wild offers had me more fatigued rather than not. The concept of the shrines was super fun, but with 120 of them available to do, I got a little sucked out of it by the fact that they all look pretty similar. Not to mention the unskippable dialogue and cutscenes adding up that my love Super Bunny Hop mentioned in his video. I figured the actual dungeons would be these huge things that felt massive and epic, but to my dismay, I was given a 25-minute thing that felt anticlimactic, like basically 2.5 shrines in one. Certainly, Breath of the Wild has hit a chord that has resonated in the hearts of many, but alas, I was not one of them. Worst game ever, you can't fuck the fish man, 0 out of 10.
Speaking of wanting to have intercourse with things that aren't human, let's talk about NieR Automata. Automata.
A lot of you haven't played the original NieR or the Drakengard games for that matter. You don't have to lie to me, but you also don't necessarily have to play them in order to get an appreciation for NieR Automata. But hey, maybe you should. The old games are a bit janky, but absolutely have enough staying power in the story to make an impact. With the exception of Drakengard 2, what even happened in that? I can't remember. Alright, I'm gonna be blunt and straightforward with y'all. NieR Automata is one of the best video games I've ever played. The genre-shifting action RPG made by Platinum and Square Enix, yes, that Platinum, has such strong staying power that I've been thinking about it nearly every day since beating it. Basically, Automata takes place in the year 11,945. Yeah, 11,945. And you assume control of the super cute and badass android 2B. You're joined by the male android 9S, aided by the corporation Yorha, and your mission is to defeat the machines that have pushed humanity back to living on the moon. However, if you know Yoko Taro and his previous games at all, you know very well that what appears on the surface is extremely skin deep and that so much more is revealed over time. And hot damn, this NieR Automata refused to pull any punches. Combat is what you'd expect from a Platinum game with a plethora of interesting mechanics utilizing the little pod buddies you get. There's a huge amount of weapons you can find and buy, each giving your character a different style. I refuse to say too much about this game as any deeper will give away huge portions of the game, but I will say that the soundtrack composed by Keiichi Okabe has to be one of the most detailed and beautiful soundtracks ever made. A lot of the tracks in this game have 7 different versions that change out dynamically depending on what is happening in the game. The usage of vocals and some variations makes certain moments hit hard, and well, it stays with you. In the end, NieR Automata was enough to make me put the controller down and rethink certain aspects on how I view my day-to-day life. I know that sounds dramatic, but it'll tear you apart. If you like fun-ass gameplay, emotionally gripping storytelling, and music, generally just feeling like someone's yanking on your heart, I cannot recommend NieR Automata enough. Do yourself a favor and pick it up as soon as you can. You won't be disappointed.
I missed a lot of games in the first few months, and I'm gonna miss some more, but I figured I'd go ahead and mention a few that I'm looking forward to, or some coming up in the future that I'm really excited for. If you feel like there's something that I missed, feel free to drop it in the comments. Let's go.
I've watched the entirety of the Best Friends Let's Play on Resident Evil 7 because I'm a huge coward, and all I can say is that it seems like a big return for the franchise. I'm tempted to play it in VR whenever I get the balls to do so, but for now I can just appreciate all the small things that it does. So with Tales of Berseria, I got a little turned off by the franchise after Tales of Zestiria was, well, terribly generic, what with its Chosen One Jesus plot. But Tales of Berseria looks to be a super solid game. It looks darker and less "you are the chosen one," so it's got my attention. Digimon World Next Order for some people has been a super fun throwback to the old school Digimon World games of actually raising a digital monster. I really enjoyed Cyber Sleuth. Visually, the game isn't super great looking, but it has my interest. For Honor seems to be Ubisoft's melee combat spin on Rainbow Six Siege in terms of a competitive gaming scene. It seems like the audience has either been extremely quiet or dwindling over time, but as a fan of games like Chivalry, I'd like to at least try it out and see how far it's come from the time I played it at PAX Prime time in 2015. Do you want a beautiful ass open world game with big ass robot dinosaurs? Horizon Zero Dawn. I decided to pick up a Switch instead of this, and due to my negative experience with Zelda, I might have to wait a bit on this. But whenever I decide to go back, I'm pumped to explore the beautiful open world. Lego Worlds. What the hell did they make Lego No Man's Sky for? This looks better than No Man's Sky. Okay, this game looks kind of generic, but Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands looks like it could be a stupid fun for a player co-op weekend. Like just one. Danganronpa 1 and 2 Reload. These games are amazing, and I will talk about them at some point. Just get them. Shut up and get them. Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash, I'm just kidding. And don't you forget about the most mixed reception game I've seen come out in a long time, Mass Effect Andromeda. Some people are completely in love with the characters and story, and others think it's the worst thing ever. I want to make a decision for myself, but the jetpack gameplay seems a lot like Halo 5, and that's not a bad thing. Oh, that was a lot. But that's just 3 months of video games. I'm just gonna put all the other shit coming out this year on the screen right now. Look at it's too much. It's very scary.
But before we end this video, I wanted to talk about 2 trends that I think are really good and aiding to why this year, in my opinion, is the best year for video games ever.
Something we've been seeing a lot this year is a higher frequency of lead female protagonists, especially from mainstream releases. It was a very cool situation to be in when I had to pick from buying Gravity Rush 2, Horizon Zero Dawn, NieR Automata, Tales of Berseria, or Night in the Woods, all games with unique, diverse, and strong female characters. Needless to say, I'm glad we're starting to move past the buzz-cut Marine Man video games that were like most of last gen. Lastly, and my main point, why do I think 2017 might be the best year for games? By no means am I discounting previous years or saying that they suck. It's more like we're starting to go back to the late 90s of seeing more and more high quality releases come knocking. I mean, hell, we're like 4 months into the year and I can already make a top 10 list of games that would all be super good. But I think part of this is due to the resurgence of Japanese developers. Correct me if I'm wrong, but for a while there, it felt like we weren't seeing critically praised releases from Japanese studios. Looking through many Game of the Year lists from various websites and channels show mostly American or English-speaking studios being heralded. Or, you know, The Witcher 3. We weren't in the days of the 90s where studios like Squaresoft, Capcom, or Konami dominated. But somehow we've seen just in this video, Japanese studios completely dominate some of my months. I mean, hell, Breath of the Wild is now one of the most critically acclaimed video games ever released. And that's super impressive coming from the last few 3D Zeldas that were met with less than stellar reviews. But frankly, it feels like Japan is back in the game now, and that has essentially doubled the output of must-haves that we're seeing. Frankly, we all need to beg for mercy, because this year is destined to kill us. Speaking of Japanese studios, no, I didn't forget, yes, I am playing Persona 5. Yes, it does kick ass. Yes, I will make a video on it, but that is for next time.
No matter who you are, 2017 is proving that even if you have just a little casual interest in video games, there's one, if not way more for you. I'm gonna play this thing. Thank you guys so much for watching, and go out and play some video games, you fucking nerds.
Thank you all so much for watching. Anyway, if you liked the video, why not subscribe? Check out all the other content here on Arcadea. If you want to see your art here in the videos, feel free to tweet it at me. And I'll see you guys on the other side of the Persona 5. Bye-bye.